Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the ETTO Comic Cast for May. It's May.
It's May.
It's May.
It's May, only just.
Only just. We're doing it. We're still doing it. I'm Ben. We've got Will. We've got Josh here. We're all here. As usual.
We're all here.
Back for another comic. This month, we're doing Loki, Agent of Asgard.
Yeah, we are.
In preparation for the Loki TV show coming out next month. It's very exciting.
What date is that again?
The 9th of June.
9th of June. That's like freaking next week.
That is
Basically.
this is really soon.
From time of recording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And judging by how quickly the last one got out, it probably will be out already by the time this goes up on
The show's over.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Dear. But yeah, it's a good little comic. That's
It
my
is.
surface level.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Little
we
one
only
line.
we only read the first 5 issues.
First 5.
Yep.
I read a few more
but
after that, but not very many. So
Yeah, nice. But no, it's a good just the first 5 issues are a pretty good little arc in
Yeah.
themselves. I'm sure there's great stuff beyond that, but yeah, just to get your own story.
yes,
So good.
yes. I will say it was one of those comics where I did regret not knowing having a lot of prior information, because there are a few things, and we'll get to it when we get to the chatting about them all. There are a few things where I was like, what the fuck's going on? I'm so confused. But
Yeah. I did love seeing there was a bunch of the little context boxes that
Yeah.
don't pop up in comics all
yeah.
that much anymore.
yeah.
Yeah, just a bunch of see this issue, and one of them was they called us untrue believers. It's like, come on,
Yeah.
rude.
Yeah.
It's great.
And that made me think, because since we did the Invincible podcast last time, I read a bunch more Invincible. I read up to issue 50. And there's one issue that comes a bit later in that, which just literally has on every page, catch up on this one for they're just taking the piss out of it. And it was so good. But yeah, I love the little context boxes. We need more of them. I miss them.
Yeah, I miss them. They're always so fun.
Yeah.
They generally just get funnier as the comic goes on as
totally.
The thing I hope that Disney Plus eventually includes is that. So there's an overlay that you can toggle on for all the Marvel movies, and it just pops up in the corner, and it's this is referencing this moment. Go watch the movie, and you can press a button that will kick into that film at that moment, and then push you back across. It's a little bit of a little
That
thing.
would be so cool.
That'd be really
It would
good.
be like a director's cut.
It should be I
Yeah.
don't know if either of you use Amazon Prime at all, but they have an X-ray feature.
Totally,
It should be like that, but just for exclusively. Oh, I mean, I guess they could do it for Star Wars as well. They could program it in.
Yeah,
We're getting there with Star Wars.
We're getting there.
that would be
Dave-
sick.
Dave Filoni's in charge now, so we're getting there.
Yeah. Yeah, a
Yep.
little Indiana Jones hat just pops up in the corner,
Oh,
and it
that's
says,
so cool.
"Go watch this episode of the Clone Wars."
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Alrighty. Jumping into a few facts, a few comic curiosities about Agent of Asgard. It was written by Al Ewing, who, as soon as I found this out, before I read it, I was like, hell yeah, I love this man. He is one of my favorite writers right now, but he didn't do a lot of stuff up until, this was one of his earlier comics, and he didn't do a bunch of stuff. But he does, so many things right now for Marvel. So he does, or did, and is now doing another run of Guardians of the Galaxy. So he did the 2021, which is really good. I have one of the trades for it, and I'm looking to get the other one. I'm not sure if it's out yet, but and he did.
Sorry, was it 2021? Was that the one where Peter was it was his dad and all that sort of stuff was kicking into gear, the church? Universal Church Truth? Yeah.
Or maybe that's 2019, but then
Maybe
they kind
that's
of
I think
lead
that was
into each
2019.
other, and then
Yeah.
Peter's stuff, the way it starts to resolve in the 2021 is also very cool, and then that's leading into the 2021 one. The way they're doing Guardians right now is actually very cool.
I'm going to Marvel Unlimited and just putting the 2020 run in my reading pile.
Yeah, they've
Yeah,
got
nice.
11 issues out of 12 up there so far, so you'll be left on a nice cliffhanger.
Cool.
And then he also did the Empire event from last year, which was their big tie-in event. He did the main run of that, where Hulkling became the Emperor of the Galaxy, basically.
Jeez.
Which is pretty cool.
That's the best.
And then that also ties into his Guardians run at one point. It's kind of cute.
Sick.
And then apparently the other really big series that he's done is Immortal Hulk, which I haven't read, but I have heard a lot of good things about the one that's going on at the moment. It's like a lot of issues. I think it's maybe in its like 40s or something. So
Yeah, right. Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I like the Loki series. The one that we read today. It's so like quirky and interesting. And yeah, so I would love to read more of this guy's stuff.
Yeah,
he seems to have an interesting way to go about things.
He's got a very good writing style. The other thing this is why I'm like, man, he's doing so much right now. He just started the new Sword series, which is like X-Men focused, as well. Cool. So he's running like 3 different continuities within Marvel at the moment.
Like Robert Kirkman and Invincible.
Yeah, basically. But it's cool.
Doing those for like 15 years straight at the same time.
It's cool to kind of go back and like read his earliest one, now realizing how big he is.
It's the proving grounds.
This was, I get the feeling this is definitely like his breakout one, because this is a very well-regarded comic. The other thing I'll say about him, his comics are really good when it comes to LGBTQ representation. Both Guardians and the Empire event got nominations at the GLAAD Awards, which is for that representation for comic books, and Empire took the award as well. So they're very good representation-wise. Actually, the Sword series as well has an issue recently which centers around Manifold, who is Indigenous Australian X-Men as well. So
yeah, cool.
And very cool. All I'm going to say
I remember seeing him. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
He does like teleporting and stuff, right?
Yeah, his powers are wild. And then there's another there's another Aboriginal Australian who has other teleporting powers. They're very cool. Anyway, basically, Al Ewing, love him. If you see any of his stuff, give it a read, because it'll probably be good. And then the other 2 there is no information for. So the artists, Lee Garbett, couldn't find anything else other than Agent of Asgard that was like notable. And the cover artists for all these, which I will say, the covers are very pretty. They've got a very interesting style. The other thing I could find about Jenny Frison is that she did some work on the covers for X-Men Red, which I haven't read. But it was written by Tom Taylor, who is an Australian writer who we love very much. Nice. He's always at the cons around. Yeah.
We could have saw him last week if we wanted.
Yeah.
If we tried hard enough.
Can't see him this week though, Josh, because we're all in lockdown, and he's probably in lockdown too, writing his Superman and Nightwing series.
That's it.
Anyway, he's probably loving it. Yeah, he's probably just tapping away his computer, being like, "I'm writing for DC. It's all good."
Too good.
But yeah, that's all for like the creators that I could find. But in terms of a few other facts, this is part of like a big Loki continuity that spanned like a long time. But basically before this, he was reborn as a child, and then like his older self was supposedly killed, and then he was reborn as a child, and then that child was killed by a teenage version. Again, I'm confused. We'll get into this. I'm still not entirely sure what happened. But alongside the Agent of Asgard stuff, he became a part of the Young Avengers, which is quite cool. I think that's the one with like Wiccan and Hulkling and a bunch of other characters who you'll probably see very soon on MCU stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, if you want to read any of the precursors to it, I did a bit of research. You can read Matt Fraction's Mighty Thor, so good writer there, and Kieran Gillen. I think
every time.
Yep. Right. He did a run of like 620 to 640 or something of Journey into Mystery, so you can find it out there. Basically, that's.
I think he's done a bunch of Iron Mans as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all the comic curiosities, all the facts we've got for this one. Let's just jump straight into the issues. Issue 1, I'm just going to say in general, the little blurbs you get before you read each of these issues are fantastic.
They're so funny.
They're so funny. I rarely bother to actually read them, but every time I just had a little chuckle to myself. I'm going to read the one for issue 1, and then you can catch all the other ones if you want, but it sets the tone brilliantly.
I have a note for the second issue one.
Yeah, so. Okay, cool.
My note for issue 2 is that intro blurb.
Yeah. It goes, old god, new trickster, kid Loki's all grown up, and the god of mischief is stronger, smarter, sexier, and just plain sneakier than ever before. As Asgardia's one-man secret service, he's ready to lie, cheat, steal, bluff, and snog his way through the twistiest, turniest, and most treacherous missions the All-Mother can throw at him, starting with a heart-stopping heist on Avengers Tower, and the death of Thor. And that's just the beginning. Would we lie to you? This is Loki, true believer. We're lying to you right now. So good.
Very good.
Just the twists and turns in that single blurb are wonderful. And then you turn the page and Loki's stabbing Thor, which is wonderful. And the little summary thing you get inside the comic as well similarly sets the tone very well. There's just a lot of humor in all this stuff that's going on that you don't often see in like the summaries and stuff, which I thought was very cool.
Yeah, it's all just so quirky. It's great. I love it.
And then we get like a flashback to Loki in his apartment in the shower, naked, very sexy. And the All-Mother just shows up in his mirror. Starts talking to him, and I'm like, okay, sure. This is where we're going with this.
It just like all the like Asgardian lore and stuff amongst this. I'm sad that they blew up Asgard. I know it was Asgard of people, but I feel like the Asgard that's currently situated in Sydney is probably not the Asgard that'll have stuff like this.
Yeah, probably not.
Maybe they'll pull it through Loki, like through the show. They might find a loophole to bring it in, but it's like, there's so much cool magic in this run.
I was gonna say I'm missing it. I definitely am missing it in like MCU stuff. I feel like I enjoy the direction Target's taking it, but I feel the same.
I love the way that the All-Mother turns up everywhere. Like it's different every time. Like she turns up in Punch.
That was the other one that I noticed.
Floating balls of punch. So good.
Dripping throughout the apartment.
And then when they disappear, it just destroys the carpet. It's so good. That was a lot of fun.
That bit, I'm sure we'll get to it, but that gave me super like Matt Fraction. I was like, this is good. Anything in an apartment, very good. Then we go back to Avengers Tower, and there's just this page that has them all in their little bubbles, and it goes Thor drinking, Loki laughing, and his smiling face because he's gone invisible. The mission waiting, Captain and Iron Man sparring, Hawkeye and Black Widow relaxing, Bruce Banner aka the Hulk working. And I just thought it was very nicely laid out and everything.
I love that. I also just love the floating smile.
The floating smile is especially creepy.
After he puts his invisible cloak on, it's just smiling teeth, just in the middle of a panel. Yeah, totally. It's so sick.
Yeah. We got Hawkeye playing videos. This is post Matt Fraction Hawkeye, so it's good Hawkeye. And just I love that he's playing video games. Good on him. Everyone's still making fun of him, but you know.
Their back and forth is so funny.
Yeah.
Because Black Widow's like, you've got an army after you and you're falling out of a plane. And he's like, I know, it just happens. And she's like, it's a fishing game. You're playing a bass fishing game. How is this? How have you done this?
Yeah.
It's like he breaks video games. That's how terrible. It's like his missions. It's always like, this is like a simple in and out. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. I think Dolphin Pants in his notes for this one wrote, Clint is me trying to complete a mission in GTA. Because it's very much like GTA Red Dead vibes, where it's just like, who knows what's happening.
That's totally it.
Catch a fish. 6 stars. How?
It was a police fish.
Of course.
I really like that they kind of situate us by the outfits that you see in this. So it's most easily noticeable by Iron Man's outfit when you get to Avengers Tower, but it's like the original Sin outfits, which is a pretty famous event. But it's like just little visual indicators like that I find are really helpful to like situate me. And just like the outfit Hawkeye's wearing as well is very clearly like a Fraction inspired one. So I appreciate having that, like, if you're going to include it within like the wider Marvel stuff and not have it be separate, I appreciate having like the little notes that you can kind of key into.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because like in its own, because I think I remember reading this issue on its own like ages ago, and it almost feels like an issue that would come with like MCU box set.
Yeah.
Where it's a fun little throwaway.
Yeah.
Loki's doing some funny mischief on specifically the MCU Avengers.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's very rare that this specific team is all together. So yeah, it is cool that there's little essences of where it's sitting in the comic world.
Yeah, and this is back in like prime MCU years, like 2014, right at when it was starting to peak.
We were watching Guardians and Winter Soldier.
Oh, yeah.
And we were watching Winter Soldier to watch the opening of Guardians.
Yeah.
We sure were. Hell yeah.
Oh, man. Back in the day. And then they had the banner is always angry line. So again, just calling back to MCU, very much tying into all those things.
Definitely.
I think, what is it? Loki kind of puts a seed in Thor's mind about Iron Man not deleting the files from when he made a robot version of him in Civil War, I think. I think that's what it was. Yes. I think it's a robot version. Anyway, he makes an evil Thor, basically. And I'm convinced that Iron Man didn't get rid of those files, because obviously Iron Man sucks. It's a classic Iron Man move.
The way he was reacting as well, it kind of seemed like he hadn't.
Yeah.
And that he was just hiding that. So, look, as an Iron Man fan, I also kind of wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah.
That man has backups upon backups.
He does, he does. Then we kind of... there's a cool little bit where Loki kind of leaves the room, and then you just see like Hulk's fist in the wall and all the little bits of onomatopoeia, just of all the different sounds, which I thought was very cute. And then Thor is just being a total asshole, and I initially just thought this was just Thor. When they revealed that he's like corrupted or something, I was like, oh, okay, I'm a Thor lover, like Josh is to Iron Man what I am to Thor. And even I was like, he's being an asshole here.
He was just drinking, like I kind of just assumed he was being weird and drunk.
Yeah, totally. But then, he gets stabbed in the back. Evil goop flows out of him. Loki takes it back to the All-Mother, and then, we're back to evil Loki.
He was there.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting twist. I will say, I thought the goop that you mentioned was kind of reminiscent of the ether from Thor 2. Just this floating red dust.
I thought so basically. As well. And he mentioned that I think it was as a result of Malekith as well.
Yeah, right.
I think
Thor 2 had been out at this point.
Yeah. So like
totally.
Yeah.
Will's suggestion that it very much feels like a tie-in, I agree with that even more now for sure. Because it's just like all these little MCU things, definitely.
For sure.
Dolphin Pants has graced us with his comments once again. I'll go through some of them. He's written a lot, so I'm going to skip over a few. But does mention these had like the Marvel Now AR covers, which are cool. So you can, there's like a little video thing you can click in the corner, get a bit more information about them, which...
there used to be cooler ones. There used to be such good ones. The ones that you can see
Spider-Man was swinging on a skyscraper.
Oh, it was so good. Yeah, issue 1 of Amazing Spider-Man after the Superior Spider-Man event. It just would create this... I think it was or a crane. Was it a crane?
Yeah.
So it was this actual AR crane. So I'd put it down on a table and it would come out of the comic. And then he would be on top and he would jump on and then he'd swing around in circles and then fly off somewhere.
That's cool.
And then you'd see him like kind of appear on the ground and climb back up and stand on top again and then start swinging around again.
That's super cool.
It was the coolest thing. But then that was the coolest one that I think Will and I found. And the rest were mostly just videos of like how they created this panel or this page or the front cover. Or a bit of extra context and stuff, but man, that one was
this one was just videos, which was like okay, whatever. But I need to go back and find some of those cool ones for sure. Because man, if only they kept doing it, they could do some really cool shit these days.
Yeah, I kind of wonder whether Marvel Unlimited has that one, like has the Amazing Spider-Man issue 1. thing to it, or because Marvel Unlimited has those things still.
It does.
There's a little AR drop down.
Bless Marvel Unlimited. I'm just gonna say it again. It's just so good. It's just everything I want to read is there. Well, every Marvel thing, but I take it for granted sometimes. It's very useful.
Totally.
And they have lovely little reading lists. It's great. Anybody not reading in Hiddleston's voice for Loki? I actually didn't. Because I think it was because of how he looked. He's like a teenager and everything. I definitely didn't have a particular voice for him. Let's see.
We may have one after June 9th.
Yes, we may have
a voice.
We may have a voice for a young Loki. We may have a voice for lots of other Lokis, to be honest.
This is true.
Loki has some special shoes, which is very cool.
Sure.
I can't remember what kind of shoes they are, but I did like them.
They allowed him to balance on stuff really easy, or walk up stuff, stand on things that he shouldn't really be able to stand on. Later he's standing on a clothesline.
Yeah, some fantasy loot thing that you'd find in The Witcher or something.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I'll mention from Dolphin Pants is he mentions that they made old Loki almost look like really demon-like, which I thought is very cool. The difference, almost just in the art style of the two, I thought was very cool. It's like a blend of different styles.
Yeah, very creepy, almost like creepy Joker-esque.
Yeah, for sure.
Like kind of your creepier interpretations of the Joker. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that's issue 1. Good introduction, but very much, as Will said, kind of feels a bit like an MCU tie-in. I will say from this point on, it gets weirder and more confusing.
It's such a soft launch into what this series actually is.
Yeah.
It's such a normal intro.
Yeah, I remember
such a normal story.
I read the first issue and I was like, yeah, this is good. I can get behind it. It's a good comic. And then I started reading through and I was like, what's going on? My head hurts.
Totally.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I think issue 2 opens on Loki at speed dating, which also wonderful place to start.
I'm just gonna super quickly jump in to explain the intro blurb or one part of it that stood out to me, because it's just a dumb phrase or twist of a phrase, because it explains how Loki broke into Avengers Tower because he's doing missions for the All Mother, and every time he completes one of those missions, it wipes out a bad deed that old Loki did. So he's trying to get that fresh start. I don't know if we explained that already, why All Mother turned up. Anyway, and there's a line that just says, "It was a way for Loki to have his fresh start and eat it too." It's just such a dumb good line.
Yeah. I wonder if Al wrote these or if someone else did. If Al did, kudos Al. If someone else did, I want to know who you are. Very funny.
Yep. So good.
And I think my main comment for this speed dating thing was just and Dolphin Pan said it as well, I wish I had these lie detecting powers for dating apps. I'm sure everyone wishes they did. You meet Verity here and she's just every guy that comes past, she's like, you're lying. Yeah. Man, it would just be so useful, honestly. And then that we have that speed dating, we kind of jump back and forth to it. We jump to Loki back in his apartment, and this is where we get the All Mother coming out of the punch, which is arguably more creepy to me than the mirror.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're getting a lot of One Direction jokes as well at this point. I can't remember. I think someone mentions it in issue 1, and then there's another one here, and I'm like, man, this really was 2014. You were dating this comic.
It's a different time, man.
Different time.
That's it.
And this is calling back to what I said a bit earlier. All good comics have their heroes living in an apartment. If you want a comic to be good, put them in an apartment. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that's what comic books are?
It makes them relatable.
Yeah, I mean, that makes Loki relatable, and Loki is one of the most he's a god. If you can do it with Loki, you can do it with anyone. That's my opinion. Then we get so this is the point where I got really confused reading it. I'm a bit less confused now. So there's a little reminder in the corner of one of these pages that says Loki annihilated the newer iteration of himself and stole his body. And I was like, what?
When?
When? What did I miss? I had to do a bit of digging back. I think he was reborn as Kid Loki, and then this version of Loki killed him, but it wasn't evil Loki that we see at the end of issue 1.
Really? Like, why did he do this?
Yeah, why did he do this? How many Lokis are there? I feel like a bit of extra context in here would have been nice just for the people that haven't read it. Dolphin Pants mentions that Verity, who is the lie detector, he gets Barb Gordon vibes from her, which I also thought very much Barbara Gordon kind of that kind of feeling.
For sure.
And we also, with the speed dating thing, we get this splash page of like, I think it's just after a speed dating page, we go to the heist, and it's like Lorelei and heisting. It's very confusing. This issue is very confusing. I think it's supposed to be.
It's definitely confusing, like to the point where, like we were describing at the start, where she's like going, no. I was like, is this Loki trying to find a person? And then it just, I didn't know who anyone was in this until the end of the comic.
Lorelei, and I'm like, oh, so she's Lorelei. And then he goes, find Lorelei. And then she's also, her powers are kissing people. And then, but she's not at the speed dating. And I was like, oh, so that's why she's at the speed dating. And it's not her.
It's just someone in the corner. Cool.
This is very much a tonal shift from this first issue, as we said. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, but please explain some more.
Totally. Initially, I thought that the lie detector girl was going to be like a female version of Loki who had changed himself and could tell through lies because he is just a good liar himself.
That's what I thought as well.
And then it turned out not to be him, and then I thought that she was going to be Lorelei, but she's faking it, like she's trying to be like, no, I'm not Lorelei, or that she doesn't know anymore or something, but Lorelei is actually a whole different person. It was wild.
I thought it was a female Loki thing as well, like I know Loki is like a thing about him being gender fluid as well, and there's all this stuff, there's alternate reality things. So that's fully where I was as well. And I was like, oh, cool, they're doing like a twist on his powers. But apparently Verity is just a different character that exists. And so is Lorelei. None of them are versions of Loki. I did like that Verity's name was a spin on the Latin word for truth, veritas. I thought that was a cool little note on that. Lorelei I did not care about. I don't know. Everything they went to with her in the heist, I just didn't really care.
She's pretty. When she pops up later, she's pretty shit as well.
She's pretty
still
shit.
Such a nothing character.
Yeah. I assume she's potentially part of like Norse mythology.
She's part of. I think so.
Someone.
Part of some other Asgardian lore, but again, this is one. I think this issue, more than any other one I've read, even beyond the 5 that we're doing here, suffers from not having context. Or them not giving enough context.
And I had the wrong context because I'm currently reading the 2007 Thor run, which is after Ragnarok, and Thor's going around trying to find all the Asgardians that are hidden within humans. And so, my thing at the start was like, maybe this is her. She doesn't know that she's that character. Loki's going to awaken her. But I'm like, oh, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
That's from that other comic.
See, that's also what I was expecting. That was my second thought.
Yeah.
It's like, she just doesn't realize.
She's Asgardian, but she's hidden. No.
Yeah.
Very weird, but it's fine.
Yeah. And then issue 3, even weirder, because this is like a old-timey wives' tale.
This got weird.
Yeah.
This is so strange.
I did like it a lot though. We start off with like a evil Loki and young Odin team up. So it's very clear we've gone back in time. And they mention a giant otter, and then they come across the giant otter, and he gets murdered. And I felt really sorry for the otter, just minding his own business. Until we find out that he wasn't an otter, he was just a shapeshifter. And so they murdered a guy.
Yeah.
Um,
And what's the guy's real name was Otter, like it was spelt.
yeah,
Is that a thing that I read?
possibly.
Yeah. I feel like his name was Autter or something.
Yeah, right.
And so it's Red Otter as well.
And I think I wrote in my notes here, I think somehow I would have been more upset if it was just a giant otter just minding its own business. The guy, totally. I was like, oh, whatever, that's happens. But the
Asgardian Vikings, they do terrible things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and animals dying is way sadder than anyone else dying.
Yeah.
Because they probably don't understand why.
Yeah, exactly.
We at least get it. We're like, oh, we've been shot.
Yeah.
He's like,
an otter. It's like, what the hell was that?
Yeah. And then we get a giant fish. So just more giant animals.
Yes.
This was also a shapeshifted guy. I don't remember who. This was like a dwarf, maybe, that shapeshifted. Is this the one with the money?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, he was counting the gold.
Yeah, I read this a few days ago. That's fine. And then Loki shoots him with a recoilless rocket launcher.
Amazing.
I don't think that's a thing that's possible, but that can exist. But
it's so good. And I love the line where he's like, oh, like, you better not lie about this or whatever. Like, he gets cursed or something. Some dude curses him and is like, like, no one will ever believe you if you try and lie about this. And he's like, I don't intend to. And the next frame, he's like, I shot a fish with a bazooka. Such a good jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I've just looked it up. His name was spelled OTR.
Oh, right. Okay. That's good. I like that.
Otter. Yeah.
Oh, no, the fish wasn't the one hoarding gold. The fish was something else. Because then we get Sigurd the Ever-Glorious, another Asgard guy, murdering another human, shapeshifted into something else, who killed something else, and just a lot of murder going on. Yeah, just a lot of unintentional murder of shapeshifted animals, or intentional. But it's giving a backstory to us for the sword that we see in issue 1. We see Loki stab Thor with. And I like getting the backstory of that, finally getting some explanation for what's going on and stuff. And also just like the style of the comic set as like a fairy tale kind of thing. I thought it was very cool. Yeah. But very wordy. Very wordy.
Very wordy.
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of like going back in time.
Yeah.
To when comics were very, very wordy.
Yeah. No.
And I would have no idea who Sigurd was if it wasn't for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I played through recently. Like I've never heard of him before.
Please, Josh, who is Sigurd?
Yes.
Who is he?
Yes, that's my answer.
Thank you.
He's just they keep referring to him as Asgard's greatest warrior.
Okay. Okay.
But in Assassin's Creed, in the game, he's just a Viking who believes he is a god.
Yeah.
In the end, and that ends up kind of sending him pretty crazy. Because
he's the one that's like married to someone. He's like one of the first characters you meet when you get home, right?
Yeah, he's your brother.
That's right.
So you play as Eivor. He's like your adopted brother, or you're the adopted one into his family.
Yeah, because your dad's dead.
Yeah, and he believes he should be king. His dad ends up handing over like all of the basically his kingdom or his rights to the land or whatever to a greater king who they're creating an allyship with. Yeah. Sigurd gets pissy because he's like, no, that was mine. You shouldn't have given that away. So then that's when he pisses off to England.
Yeah, cool.
And starts his reign, but then ends up getting told that he's a god and all that stuff. So
that's cool.
Sorry, no, I was going to say, it's interesting because I think that's what happens in the 2007 Thor run I'm reading at the moment. Loki basically is like, hey, you're technically the first son of Odin, and then forces Thor to do something bad, which then forces Thor out of the chair. And so she's like, well, now you're the thing, and I helped you, so let's like team up and be friends. So clearly it's just a big old pushover, but also a little bit bad.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, and like this is one of the reasons I like Thor and that side of Marvel Comics particularly, is I just like how it ties into like Norse mythology and how there is generally a parallel for everything there. So you can always like draw a line back to it, which I do appreciate. Totally. Sigurd loses his ever gloriousness at the end of the issue and becomes sometimes glorious, which is a bit sad. But yeah, just good issue, but my eyes did glaze over reading through some of the stuff. I think. Yeah.
I think I woke up when Loki stopped talking in Old English and was like rocket launcher. I was like, fuck, I'm still reading this comic, aren't I?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah. The giant fish, I was like, oh, whatever. And then, rocket launcher. Yeah, cool.
Rocket launcher.
I'm back.
I think I did a similar thing with the otter. Like reading through, and then it's like, you just killed an otter. And I was like, wait, what? Did I just read? So I went back and read like a couple of pages before again.
Yeah.
Like, how did we get to that?
Yeah.
Good.
Dolphin Pants kind of talks about how it's very timey-wimey, and Loki is like going back and forging the weapon that he has later, and he likens it to entering weapon cheat codes, which I feel like is a good way of a good way of summarizing it.
I think old Loki says later that he went back in time to make that sword because he saw Loki use it on Thor.
Yeah.
In issue 1.
I don't know.
So it is that weird timey-wimey thing.
Yeah. But he was in the group that was old Look.
Yeah.
I don't really know what's
like
going on.
Weird paradoxes.
He was stabbed by the Thor, but he was stabbed as Thor. Yeah. It's great.
He was stabbed
goes back in his
out of Thor
Loki
by the sword that he then goes back and makes for that to happen.
Yeah. Yes.
Wild.
Also, just another bit from the 2007 run, he goes back in time to tell Odin's dad, hey, make sure you have a kid. And that's why Odin gets born. And then he's like, hey, Odin, you're going to like go up to those frost giants and they're going to be really mean to you, but there might be a child there, so maybe get that child. And so like
no way.
all Loki does is just go back in time and talk to his ancestors and go, I don't, maybe we'll do this.
Maybe do these things so that, I can live.
That's pretty good.
That's good.
He's cheeky.
He's
and what's he
very
going to do in the show? He's got time travel. Maybe he goes back in time and does all this. Things.
I don't know,
that would be great.
I'm excited. It looks very good.
A really good video to watch, also based on all of this, is one of my favorites, Good Blood. Javed Sterrett from Sydney did a recent video on, I think it's called Untangling God of War. And it's just a really good breakdown of like the God of War, most recent God of War game, with Loki stripped out of history and how they recreated it all.
Interesting.
Super interesting. So if you are interested in like weird, twisted versions of Norse mythology, give that video a watch because it's freaking awesome. Like it's such. I did not pick up on that when originally playing through God of War.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know a lot of that mythology, but it's so sick.
It is at the top of my like YouTube watch later. I'm just waiting for a time where I can sit down. I love his videos, but I'm just waiting for a time where I can sit down and just be like, take it all in.
He's a good dude too. I'm gonna name drop him. I chat to him.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Love him.
So go watch Good Blood. Very good stuff. Issue 4. We start with Sigurd climbing up a tower now. He's been climbing up everything. He climbs up mountains, climbs up towers. I just think he should find a better method of transit. For someone who's ever glorious, he just needs to work out a better way of doing things. I will say,
on this as well, freaking loved this, because the very end of issue 3, it says up a mountain, like it's the context box that basically says up a mountain. And then the first page or whatever of issue 4 says up a different mountain. So if I didn't read these directly after each other, I don't think I would have picked up on that joke. But it's so good.
Good gag.
I will say he rocks a fine outfit. He looks very good when he's climbing up this different mountain, and it can also turn invisible, which is always cool.
It's helpful.
We don't see his weird little smile though this time, which I was a bit sad about. And we get some very good tips for cooking salmon, which I do appreciate. Just at the top of one of the pages.
I do love salmon.
And we get the All Mother presenting themselves in another way that I can get behind, which is Space Invaders Asgard edition.
So good.
It's Loki's playing his video games. He makes fun of Hawkeye earlier, but he's playing his video games now.
He's playing games.
Come on,
That's
dude.
a typical nerd.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Exactly.
They make fun of the thing that they love.
Yeah. My next note is, yes, two men arguing over the quality of their swords. Loki pulls out his sword and Sigurd pulls out his sword, and then they fight with their swords.
Yeah. It's a joke.
It's a joke. Moving on. Sigurd then takes, after they fight, he takes his sword, the Bram one that we found out about in the last issue. He takes it over to the mountain that we saw at the end of the previous issue. Takes it up, and he starts talking to this guy. And he's trying to get out of going to Valhalla because the Valkyries will capture him, and he wants to have a different kind of immortality. And this guy's like, I can do that for you. And then it's Mephisto. It's finally Mephisto.
There he is.
Finally, actually is.
Yeah. So I saw the text style, like the font that they use, and I've read a bunch of other comics recently. I was like, oh, it's Dormammu. That's cool because it's the same style they use for Dormammu. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then they reveal it, and it's Mephisto. It's him.
So even when they were teasing Mephisto, you still couldn't guess it.
Yeah, exactly.
You still thought it was a different character.
Yeah.
It's good.
I will say,
want this to be, if they ever reveal Mephisto in the MCU, I want it to be like this. A throwaway gag. Just to really piss people off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
has a monk on a mountain.
He has to be this funny as well. He is brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't know who they get to play this role, but you've got to lean into this.
If it's this version of Mephisto, you can get friggin' Quicksilver. Actually
that's
do
true.
it.
That's true.
He's fun. He's a great actor, and he could really have fun with this. So.
Yeah. I think there's one joke he makes, which is talking about the wheel of reincarnation that he said Sigurd could use, and then he's like, "Oh, this contract is fine. I actually meant the wheel of reincarnations." I was like, that is top notch. I respect that. And then, hang on. Is it the evil Loki? Where does evil Loki show up in this? God, I'm already so confused. Is evil Loki Mephisto?
Wait. No.
Evil Loki comes back here.
Evil Loki's locked away, right? He's locked away on Asgard.
No.
Yeah. Evil Loki's not here.
He is, right?
Other Loki turns
Oh, no, that's right. That's right. Other Loki.
Contract.
Yeah.
Right. So teenage Loki shows up. Evil Loki shows up disguised as teenage Loki at the top of this mountain and says, the contract, I actually made the contract with Mephisto to mess with you. And then, but Kid Loki is dead still. I don't know. I really lost it at this point.
Yeah, no.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't pick up on that. For some reason, I just thought that was...
Because they keep flashing back to Kid Loki being dead and having him flash up in the corner.
Let me get this issue.
Please.
Scrub. Mephisto turns up. Young Loki's there. He's like, this isn't my contract. That's basically all it was.
Yeah.
Other Loki. That's right. No, because young Loki was swapped the mat that was under him, which was his contract.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. No, it's good. Look, it's well done. I'm sure it all makes sense. It's a great gag. I also found it all very confusing, but in the good way, where I'm like, I want to work out what's happening.
Was it old Loki as young Loki, or was it just young Loki?
It was just normal Loki.
It's young Loki. It is old Loki as young Loki. That gets revealed.
Oh, is that in the next issue? Right.
I feel like that gets revealed here.
Oh.
Because I think he was just no, it would have to be, wouldn't it? Because he sent him away, but then he's like, we need to go get him. So yes,
Right.
yeah. Nicely done, old chum, says Mephisto.
Yeah.
And then
so it's right. It's like old chum. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's just a lot of Lokis disguised as other Lokis, or that have murdered other Lokis. Yeah.
It's very confusing.
Very confusing.
But the end panel of this whole thing.
Yes.
Please talk about it.
What is it again?
Of Thor in the Aha shirt.
Oh yes, right. Yes, that was my next note. So Loki is gathering a team, and it's Verity, it's Lorelei, it's Sigurd, and it's Thor in an Aha shirt. Which is the best outfit I've ever seen him in. I mentioned it. Dolphin Pants mentioned it. We need this in Square's Avengers. However long that game lives, please just get this specific outfit.
Well, all you need to do is retexture his Donald Blake.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're very good at retexturing outfits. That is not a dig at them. That is just the truth. And
I'm gonna screenshot and tweet it at them.
Yes, please, because it's literally just a retexture, and it would be sick. But I guess you'd maybe have to license Aha, and that might be a bit annoying.
Sure. Make it.
But then that's true.
MHM.
Yeah.
Then my other idea was, if not Avengers game, put it in Love and Thunder, and then have it replace what Immigrant Song was in Ragnarok. Have Take on Me instead. That'd be cool.
I've tweeted it, so it'll happen.
Yeah. Just a couple of notes from Dolphin Pants. He says, I'm a big fan of this relationship, referring to Verity and Loki. And I agree. I'm kind of a bit sad they don't go more in on the them having an actual romantic relationship, because I actually got good vibes in that regard. I'm fine with them having a friendship, but I just thought this is the god of lies and someone who can tell if you're lying is a cool dynamic to play into.
Yeah, and there was a point, I think it was towards the end of issue 2, maybe, when they first meet, and he's talking to the All-Mother or someone in like a back alley.
Lorelei.
And he's like, it's Lorelei, yeah. And he says, like, she was just an interesting person. And Verity is around the corner listening, and she's like, that was a lie.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there you go. So
there's something there. Yeah. Granted, I haven't finished the run, so maybe they do lean into it. And the other thing is Damaged Twig is the joke about Loki's sword. I think its name is like an Asgardian name that means Damaged Twig. And Sigurd makes fun of him for it, which is very good.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And the other thing I like that Dolphin Pants said was, oh no, Loki's dead in the 4th issue of his 17-issue run. What are they going to do? Who knows? Who knows? It's not like it happens ever in comic books.
Yeah.
And then the final issue we did for this little podcast, issue 5. Issue 5, we go on a little heist, another heist.
We do. I remember seeing this cover and always being like, man, it's so cool that they've done like an Ocean's 11 a Loki thing. And now having read it, I'm like, it's not as cool as I thought it was.
No.
But that cover really sets up like a cool tone.
Yeah.
And then it's like...
Yeah. They have the joke about movie tropes, and then the whole comic is like movie tropes. I get it.
It's movie tropes.
Yeah. It's clever, but at the same time, it's also like, okay, but it could be more interesting. I feel like the one bit I did like was when they go through the room of illusions, like the trap-filled room, but they're actually all illusions for actual other traps.
That's it, Josh.
Yeah, it's a very good little cover. I appreciate it.
So cool.
So yeah, that was the one that got me, where it was like illusions of traps, and then there are other traps. I thought that was cool.
It was a good it was a good use of powers, because I feel like everything else is just real generic. But that was like, we've got a character that can see through this. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
That was such a cool idea as well. Like, it's not only that she can tell that people are lying to her, but she can see literal fake things.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Also very cool. I will note they're on Rocks on Airways at the start, which I wouldn't trust.
No.
And then we also get the panel, which they're very clearly riffing off in the Loki trailer, which is of Loki skydiving down from a plane, which I did like a lot. And then at the end of it, we get this big confrontation between young Loki and Loki. I was sick when I did this.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit confused, but I'm still a bit confused by it. So Kid Loki, an older version of Loki, who still killed a young Loki, but not the older version that's in front of him. I guess I need to keep reading, lol. That's what I wrote.
Yeah, because it's like the teenage one, the one that we've been following, is a fresh Loki. It's not the... No. The one we've been following will become that Loki that is being
old
trapping
Loki.
him. But that old Loki isn't the young Loki that died, and it's not the main continuity Loki, because it's this new fresh
so the old Loki isn't the Loki that was before Loki died. It's an older version of the current Loki.
I think so, because he says that line. It's like, you'll remember it when you're my age or whatever it is.
Okay, interesting.
I think that's what they're going with.
Yeah, so it's apparently, that's right. I totally forgot about this part too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's apparently old version of young Loki.
Yes.
Not like the Loki that was dead.
Yeah.
Completely. Yeah.
It's weird, man.
And young Loki killed young Loki killed Kid Loki.
Yeah.
Back in a previous thing.
Loki.
Yeah, okay, cool.
What is Kid Loki?
What is Kid Loki? Look.
Actually, I wonder if it's like Wiccan and stuff, where it's like the spirit of Loki went into a child, because then that means that teenage Loki just killed a human child.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't even kill like an Asgardian child. It was a kid that thought he was a kid, found out he was Loki, and then some teenager went, and that was it. So you've just killed a child that wasn't born to be this. We don't know. I'm up to issue 9. I think it's like 7. Oh, good. 4 more, and you still got nothing.
And I still don't know. Like I was just thinking about it, and I was like, have I got any more information? No, I don't. It just keeps popping up with that kid's face, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Please explain.
It's so weird.
Very proud of that art.
Yeah, they are very proud of it. That is true. A few comments from Dolphin Pants on this issue as well. Off the bat, I've held myself back on commenting on art, but I really like this cover. I just wanted to shout out the covers again as well. I think they're very pretty. As I said, I couldn't find much more stuff that Jenny Frieson had done, but I'd be keen for her to do some more covers, because it's definitely got a style. I think it's kind of like the House of M ones we did, where it's like the style is memorable versus a more generic looking comic book cover.
Yeah, I definitely remember all of these covers from back when they were in comic shops.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And then Dolphin Pants also mentions, I don't even recognize Comic Heimdall, which I also agreed with. We see him in one frame, and I'm like, who is this? Where is Idris Elba?
So defined.
Defined.
Yeah, totally. There's a few moments of Heimdall in the run I'm reading at the moment, and I'm always like, so many Asgardians. I'm always like, which one's this? And then they're like, Heimdall. I'm like, oh, is it? Okay, sure.
Yeah.
If you say so.
Yep. And then Dolphin Pants also says, damn, Loki is a dick, and I don't have to specify which one. The problem is that we never get it specified. That's the problem. But then he also says, to round it all out, how are you guys stopping at 5? I have to read more. We are stopping at 5. Please read more. It's good comic. And then also read Vote Loki 1 to 4, because we're doing that next month.
That's it.
Yeah.
I will just say super quick before we move on from that. My one note from issue 5, because there's a point where you find out that Loki and Sigurd were working together, young Loki. Yeah. And so he didn't actually die in the in their fight previously.
That's right.
There's a flashback to them in the giant bin thing.
Oh yeah, that's very good. I did like that as well.
And to make it look real, Loki's like, here, stab this, and holds up a Heinz ketchup bottle.
Yeah.
It actually says Odin's when you zoom in on it.
Oh, so good.
Instead of Heinz, it says Odin's with a Z.
Yeah. Very good.
There's some good stuff.
And the idea of, I think it's they stab that and there's a sound effect on the outside. It almost feels like, and they say, you never know who's watching. It's like for us.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, lol, we saw the sound effects, so we believe them.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, totally. It's
visual.
There's a few fourth wall breaking moments, which I do appreciate.
Yeah.
When they're not overdone, I think it's very good. I'll just add in Jade's overall viewer comments for this run and a few other Loki stuff that I think she's read as well. She says, the art and story and humor and mischief in this series makes for an exquisite mix. Compare this to Kid Loki's journey into mystery collection that, while still with an undercurrent of humor and mischief, has a more serious epic feel to it. Loki, Agent of Asgard is definitely more readily consumable by general comics fans. But AOA can be dark too. That scene where old Loki says in his ear, "You'll understand when you're my age," gave me chills. And of course, the image of Kid Loki screaming that haunt young Loki. I just have a question. I couldn't remember that. When does he say that? You'll understand when you're my age?
I think it's issue 5.
Issue 5, okay.
Yeah.
I must have just skipped over that when I was reading it. But yeah, that is... Yeah. There are a few of those moments which are very good. And then the last thing Jade wants to know is that Loki appears to be gender fluid. She specifically says, I can turn into anything as long as it's me, having shifted from his male form to her female form. There's also a line from Odin in Original Sin, which, as we mentioned, happens at around the same time, that confirms this, which is cool.
Yeah, right.
I actually read an article on...
I did... Sorry, you go.
I was just going to say, I actually read an article on, I think it's Comic Book Herald, about how Marvel has a few of these gender fluid characters and talking about how well they do with that kind of representation. But yeah, it is... is cool. Apparently they don't lean into it as much beyond this as would probably be interesting, I think, though. They kind of stick to young Loki.
Yeah, I did love the that couple of frames where he just keeps changing between all
different versions.
Versions. It's very cool. But, thanks for the extra context, Jade.
Yes, appreciate it a lot.
We know as through Discord, you were a huge Loki fan. She was so excited when we announced that we were going to be reading 2 Loki series in a row.
2 Lokis,
I think she already had them.
I'm pretty sure she did, Yeah.
Because she posted pictures very quickly afterwards.
I think it's a great comic. I'm reading more of it right now. I'm excited to see how it ends up. And it's probably going to motivate me to go back and read a bunch of the Thor backlog that I haven't read. Because I've read a lot of the recent Thor stuff, but not back early 2010s and that kind of stuff. So
I think once I've finished off this 2007 run, to not confuse the lore of Asgard, because it's currently floating over the middle of Mexico. I think I'll go back to this to finish it because I want to know.
Yeah,
what's
totally.
going on.
Totally. But yeah, that's kind of all we have for this one. Nice and quick. Just under an hour in terms of actual discussion, which amazing for us, really. As I mentioned earlier, next month we are going to be doing Vote Loki, which is potentially an even wackier little comic. Will's got it in the background there.
There it is.
Can you give us any previews, Will, before we round it out on what that's like?
It's very fun and very good, and probably the most like the Loki we're gonna get in the show. I feel like it reads exactly like Avengers Loki. Nice. For sure.
Because you only read it like really recently, didn't you? Like
read it when I first got Marvel Unlimited, and then I read it again once I got these.
Yeah, nice.
Very cool. All right,
it's very fun.
Well, that's it for this month's Comic Cast. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you watched it on YouTube. If you want to watch stuff on YouTube with ETTO, how can you access that, Will?
If you head over to youtube.com... what happened then? I think I found a new key in my voice. youtube.com/each to their own. You can subscribe to us there. And if you want things early, you can jump on over to patreon.com/each to their own. $3 will get you into the Discord, and give more if you want. If you don't want to give anything, that subscribe button does. Enough.
Yeah. Absolutely. And just one more time, what issues are we reading for the next one? Which 1
to 4, which I think is just the whole thing.
It's the whole run,
1 to 4 of just Loki, Vote for Loki, something like that.
Loki,
And
what year, just in case people are...
2016, because I think it tied in with the Trump election.
Sick. Okay, cool. There you go.
And if you want to catch ETTO on Twitch, go to twitch.tv/ETTOnline. It's about 2-3 streams a week at the moment. Mostly Monday nights, mostly Wednesday nights. Josh and I sometimes do a Thursday night one now as well.
Sometimes.
So,
It's pretty good.
Yeah, head on over there. If you want to catch me as well, I try and do weekly Tuesday night streams on twitch.tv/ArganTV. So head on over there and give that a follow as well.
And if you want even more Josh, where can they go, Josh?
Yeah.
I have another channel over on youtube.com/ I don't know if we have a URL,
Google,
but
thankfully, you can Google YouTube yours. Yours is like the only channel on the internet you can actually
Finally, I've found one with good SEO.
Yeah.
But it's The Stream Tapes. Go check it out. We are partway through Hellblade, and we are desperately trying to just finish off Half-Life 1. That was the first game that we started playing, and we're still going. We still haven't even finished it. But now we're in lockdown, so it's going to be even longer.
Half-Life 1,
we're hoping to do it pretty soon.
That game is great, but it's also a slog. It's also a big slog.
Yeah, it really has been. We're in, I don't know what it's called, Zen or whatever. It's we're in space.
Yeah. You're close. You're close.
Almost there, but the videos online are a bit behind.
Yeah.
So we're trying to catch up. We're getting there.
Head on over there. All right. Anyway, that's it for now. Catch you all later, guys. Goodbye.
Bye.